Hey Who fans, welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And we're at episode 122.
It's Christmas!
One day, I shall come back.
Oh dear, we are in trouble, aren't we?
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
I have the advantage of being slightly ahead of you. Sometimes behind you, but normally ahead of you.
The trouble with time travel is one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
A meteor storm, and the sky above us was dancing with lights. Purple, green, brilliant yellow, yes!
I'm the doctor, by the way. What's your name?
Rose.
Nice to meet you, Rose.
Run for your life.
It's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Just remember who's standing in your way.
Look at the eyebrows. These are attack eyebrows. You can take bottle tops off with these.
Howdy, howdy, howdy do, Who fans. Hope you've all had a cracking week in this festive Yuletide period. It is the season and all that.
It is.
I suppose.
Sound like Willow the Wisp.
It's all the Grinches out there.
Doily word.
Yeah. It's all the Grinches out there. I hope you've got a little bit of a smile on your face. I know Christmas is just round the corner. It will all be over soon. But we love Christmas here on the show. Especially Adam, because he's looking... You can't see him, but I can see him over Skype, and he's looking extremely Christmassy. He's got a proper Santa hat on, his Doctor Who Christmas jumper, the whole lot.
The whole shebang. Well, I felt very underdressed last week when you had your Christmas jumper on, so I thought, right, I better dig mine out this week. And it just happened to have a Christmas hat by the side of it, so I've put the whole lot on.
So he acts like it's all by accident. He acts like, oh, I just found this.
Yeah, it happened to be lying around the TARDIS wardrobe.
He's had his plan for days. This look.
But I am baking hot because I can't get the hat off because I've got my headphones over it, so it's on for the duration. So
the struggle is real.
Yeah, didn't think it through.
Doing a podcast in a Santa hat has its implications.
Let me tell you. Yeah. Still no TARDIS under the tree. I should be sorting that out this afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like I said, it's creeping up, isn't it? Actually, by the time the podcast goes out, which will be Friday, we'll be nearly at Christmas Eve. So yeah, this is the Wednesday, so I've still got a couple of days to get my act together. But I have got a smile on my face. I am feeling festive. I'm feeling ready for some superhero action over Christmas. I'm ready for the special.
Excellent.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm feeling a bit more festive now.
Good stuff.
And then, like you said, it's all over. We're into the new year.
Yeah, crack on with 2017. I'll tell you what, mate. I hope I hope we have a better year than 2016 with some of the things that happened in the world this year.
It has been a funny old year, hasn't it?
We lost a lot of good celebs.
We did. We lost my favourite musician, Prince. I'm like massive Prince fan. He's been a massive part of my life, and we lost him this year. So I know it's been a funny old year.
Yeah, hasn't it? That's been a funny one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to have a slightly different show this week because we're not going to do a show next week because we're taking a week off because it's Christmas period and New Year and we're doing stuff and I'm away and all that stuff. So you'll hear from us very briefly next week, but we're not doing a full-on show. So this week we thought that we would ditch the news and merch. We're going to leave the Daleks outside.
In the cold, in
the rain. Really, there's not much news anyway, is there? I haven't seen much.
Yeah, there's nothing, is there? No.
Not really. I saw a couple of cool merch items earlier in the week. I saw a really cool thing earlier. It reminded me of something that my son's got. Minecraft?
Yeah,
the game. One of the most popular... I don't really play it. I haven't played it in a long time. But the little torches in the game that you just sort of throw around to create your light source and stuff. And when you throw them on the wall, they sort of stick out at 45 degrees.
Yeah.
Well, my son's got an actual Minecraft lamp, and it fixes to a screw on the wall, and it comes out at 45 degrees. I saw a TARDIS wall light earlier.
Oh.
The guys over at, the American company ThinkGeek.
Yeah, I've
those
heard
guys.
of them, yeah.
I saw it on their website. It's really good. It looks like the TARDIS is coming out of the wall at sort of an angle, and it lights up. It's got the windows. It's got a light inside, so the windows light up, and there's a little blue LED inside the top light as well. So that looks amazing. I'm hoping at some point it's going to come over to the UK, because if memory serves, when I ordered a couple of bits from ThinkGeek a while ago, this was a long while ago, I think the shipping tax and so on was almost as much as the items themselves.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Yeah, I think so. So hopefully it's going to come to the UK, because that would look awesome, just sticking on the side of my bookcase by my bed.
Yeah, I love the sound of that. It does sound really cool.
Little reading light, yeah.
Yeah. That says so. Yeah, I've never ordered from that company, but I have heard of them, and I have seen a lot of things on that brilliant Doctor Who merchandise site that we both look at. And I always think, oh, that looks good, and then I see it's from them and think, oh, but that's America only. I think the trading cards they might have had or something recently that I wanted to order, but yeah, I've never ordered from them because of the import tax or whatever it is, the extra you have to pay. But that does sound good. So you reckon you might get that?
I think I was. Well, if I can find it somewhere in the UK, then yes, I would assume that one of the Forbidden Planets will get it sort of middle of next year.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Something like that.
Oh, that sounds good. More merch.
More merch to spend money. See, we're not even into 2017 and we're planning what we're going to blow the cash on.
I know.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's crazy.
So that looks cool. And other than that, I haven't really seen anything worthwhile to talk about, I don't think. We spoke about the amazing all-wooden TARDIS desk tidy last week.
Yes, we did. Yeah. I didn't put it on my Christmas list, actually. I forgot. It was one of those things... you can never, when people ask you what you want for Christmas, I don't know if you get this, because my mum will always say, what do you want for Christmas this year, Ad? I can never think of anything at the time. And then I come home and look on the internet, and I always find loads and loads of stuff. A lot of the stuff I want's on eBay, though, which is annoying. I picked up a few little bits. I got the Tom Baker theme, the 7-inch theme this week.
Oh, right.
Because I don't know why, but I used to have them. But I haven't got them anymore. I think I was really young when I used to buy the Doctor Who stuff. So they've just got lost over time.
Right.
So I've been trying to get them all, because I've got the Davison one, the Davison cover, and someone was selling the Tom Baker one, and it had no bids. So I put a bid in. I think it was like a £5, and then all of a sudden it kept shooting up in the last minute, and I'd set myself a price of £8. But you know what it's like.
Dangerous, mate.
I was like, no, I really want that Teeth and Curls cover. I'm going to get it. So I went to £10.50 and got it. And it arrived yesterday. I'm so glad. I'm actually really pleased with it as well. I was a bit sort of, when you finish bidding and you think, oh, I went over what I said I was going to. I don't know if I should have done that.
Oh, yeah.
But it arrived yesterday and I was pretty pleased with it. So I've got the Davison and the Baker themes now with their nice picture covers.
Excellent.
But I need to there's a Colin Baker one, which... I can't seem to find, so that's next on my list. So I've got to get them all, and I think there might even be a really old one with like a TARDIS cover as well. So that's my latest thing. Is picking up vinyls.
Speaking of, yeah. So this is the thing; it never ends.
It does never end.
It's a never-ending thing with Doctor Who. I mean, it's the same with many franchises, but Doctor Who in particular, because it's such, it's got so much history. And we've got New Who to look forward to, and there's so much, as we all know, there's so much within the universe of Doctor Who and so on. The world of Doctor Who merch is just, it's a constantly churning machine.
Yes, well, in the nicest way. Next year, I'm hoping we get some good stuff, but I'm also hoping we don't get as much, because I don't need any more temptation. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of like, next year I've decided I really want to concentrate on just I'm going to try and be sort of more reserved. So I really want to get a couple of the Robert Harrop, because I've been on about those for ages. So I'm thinking they're quite expensive, they're mid-range, aren't they? They're not horrendous, but they're affordable, but they're still a good chunky price. So I'm thinking, going to get a couple of those. Hopefully there won't be anything else to tempt me. And possibly Big Harrop. Big Harrop. Robert Harrop and Big Finish, I think, are the two things I'm going to concentrate on next year.
Yeah, cool. So
that's what I've decided. But I'm sure there'll be lots of other stuff to tempt me in between. But
I was thinking along the same lines, mate. I think next year I'm going to try and go for sort of quality over quantity, I think.
That's it. That's what I was trying to get to. Yeah.
Not to say that I've bought, a bunch of cheap tat. It's not that bad, but I think I will try and go for some, like the Robert Harrop stuff. I want to try and get a few more of those figures. And Big Finish as well. I want to try and pick up a lot of the box sets that I missed over this year. But I know that plan's just going to go out the window, because I know that I'll go into the Who shop in London and in Forbidden Planet, and it'll be game over. So I'll come out of there with 100 quid's worth of stuff, and I think, did I need to buy that? Probably not.
Exactly, yeah.
Probably not, but I bought it anyway, so
yeah.
So screw it.
That's what
Just
happens, isn't it? Yeah. It's that thing of thinking, I'm going into New Year, got a new plan, the new me and all that, and it goes out the window within 10 seconds of going in Forbidden Planet or the Who shop.
In terms of tat, I think the one thing that I bought that could be considered tat, I suppose, is my 11th Doctor's TARDIS bottle opener.
Oh, right.
Which is awesome, because every time that you do open, you get the little TARDIS sound effect as well.
Yeah.
Some might consider that tat, I suppose, along with the 11th Doctor's sonic pizza cutter. The barbecue tongs as well.
Yes.
I don't own those. I only own the bottle opener, but you had your eye on the tongs, didn't you? At the festival.
Only because they made me laugh. I don't think I ever considered actually buying them. I don't think we have a barbecue, but we only break it out once every 10 years, so I don't think they'd get used very much. Yeah, no, there isn't. I was thinking the other day, thankfully there isn't that much at the minute. I really need. I'm like you, because it's starting to get a little bit excessive now. So I was thinking, right, I need to really tone this down to what the bits of merch that I, dare I say, really need. Is there anything you really need? But you know what I mean? Rather than just buying everything left, right, and centre. Like, I do have a tendency to buy any figure that comes out and all that sort of stuff. So, and there's only 3 coming out next year, isn't there? There's only 3 figures, and I think they're all variants. There's like a 10th Doctor with a black suit, and then there's 2 Capaldi variants, isn't there? So that's it, unless any more comes out. So that's, I'm kind of glad about that, though. Just thinking, well, that's good. That's only 3 figures I've got to buy next year.
Yeah, when we speak to you guys, sort of a third into next year, when we speak to you in March, April, I can assure you right now that this conversation will be discarded and thrown
irrelevant.
In the bin. Of course.
Yeah, it will, won't it?
Yep.
Irrelevant. Yeah.
Irrelevant. So looking forward. So like I said earlier, we're not going to do a usual show. We're still going to do our review of our amazing Christmas special.
We've had quite a lot of feedback for this one, and I felt we probably would.
Yes.
But we have had quite a lot, haven't we?
We have, which is good.
Yeah.
Before we do that, we're going to do a year in review, just very quickly, because it has been an interesting year for Doctor Who in general.
It has, considering it's not been on the screen.
That was
screen.
Yeah.
It has been an interesting year.
That was my first point to bring up, is that we've had a whole year pretty much. It has been over a year, hasn't it, of no new Doctor Who.
Yeah, because we were saying, weren't we, that it was like when it was announced, we were thinking, wow, there's no Doctor Who next year. So it has been well over a year. Yeah, it's hard to believe that's gone so quick, but it has.
That has flown by.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And it's not like when we've had breaks before, because we had that silly we did that American thing, didn't we?
With 2 breaking into 2 parts thingy.
Yeah, no disrespect to I didn't mean that to sound like, we did the American thing. No disrespect to our American friends. What I mean is it's very popular for American shows to do like have a mid-season finale, a little break, and then do the second half and have another finale. So we did that almost, didn't we? With, what was it, Series 7?
Series 7, yeah.
So we've had that before, where we've had a bit of a break, but we've not had a whole year, over a year's gap, have we? Since it came back in.
Not at all. Not this long. No, not a year. It was Series 7. Oh,
what about when Tennant left? We know when David Tennant left, and we had those 4 specials that went out over the course of a year.
Yeah.
So after his last special, when he left, how long was it before Matt Smith came in? No, that wasn't a year, was it?
It wouldn't have been a year, but I think it might have been a bit of a gap, yeah.
There was a gap, but I think this is the longest we've had since 2005.
Yeah.
I believe. I could be wrong, but I think so. So it has been interesting, and you and I had that very quick conversation, didn't we? And said, well, oh, we're going to be all right. I mean, what we're going to talk about for a year. But fortunately, the world of Doctor Who has just really sort of saved us in a way. It's very different. I mean, I remember when, if we talk about another franchise, if we talk about Star Wars, before Return of the Jedi, we had that huge gap before Episode 1, known as the Dark Times. There was very little going on. We had to rely on like novels and a couple of video games and stuff like that. There really wasn't much going on. But in terms of Doctor Who, over the last year, we've had loads of comics. So Titan Comics have brought us loads of... I mean, initially it was just meant to be, I think it was 9, 10 and 11 Doctors.
Yeah.
And then a 12th one a bit later on. Then they announced the War Doctor one. Then shortly after that, we had all the classic Doctors coming back in comic form as well. So we've had Third Doctor, we've had the Fourth Doctor, we've had McGann.
I really like the Third Doctor one, actually.
Oh, you like that one?
Yes, I really did. I think because out of all the classics they've done, that one's just been superb, and that's the most recent one, I think. So yeah, really liked that. I mean, they've all been good. I think the Eighth Doctor ones are a bit hit and miss, but yeah, the Third Doctor comics have been excellent.
Yeah, the Fourth Doctor one was really good. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, they were good.
So we've had bucket loads of comics. We've had loads of books out this year.
Yeah,
quite a few Doctor Who books out as well, which is good. We've had our spin-off show, Class. We've had spin-off to keep us entertained. I can't really say that it entertained us in a typical Doctor Who fashion because I used the term very loosely that it's set in the Doctor Who universe.
It filled a gap.
But it filled a gap, so we had a bit of Class. And then Big Finish, as usual, just gave us a ton load of amazing stories, as usual.
Yeah, where do they find the time? Because they are doing so much now, like so many different ranges. It's actually really hard to keep up with, but they are knocking out of the park. Big Finish. I was going to say I looked on their site the other day to see what I needed to catch up on because I know I've missed a few, and they started doing these like Third Doctor Adventures and First Doctor Adventures, and I think the Second Doctor Adventures as well, which I've totally missed out on those ranges. I don't know who does the voices or anything, so they're already on like disc stories 3 and 4, and yeah, they've really been ploughing it out. Some great stuff though. The Doom Coalition and all that, that's all coming to a conclusion. That's been good. And the classic, let's get it right, the classic Doctor's New Monsters set was fun.
You got it right.
Yes, well, it's Christmas. The 10th Doctor one, we both enjoyed it. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like the most classic stories they've ever done, but it was a good, enjoyable set, wasn't it? That one,
really enjoyable.
Tennant and Tate, that was really good fun.
They're great together, aren't they? Yeah,
they are. In fact, I was listening to the Big Finish podcast yesterday, and somebody said, "When are you going to do some more of those guys?" And Nick Briggs kind of skirted around the issue and said, "Well, look, it comes down to this." We want to do it, ready to do it. We just need to get them because they're busy guys. So I think that will happen, but I'm not sure when.
Yeah, because they had to postpone it for, I think it was nearly a year, wasn't it? Because they're so busy.
So busy, yeah.
They did have a slot, and then one of them had to do something, and then it was literally, I think it was like 11 months, something like that, before they were free again to do it. So they had to pencil it in, like, we've got to do it at that time. So I can't imagine that's going to be a regular thing with them two because they are so busy. But I would say we'd get at least another one.
Oh, I hope so. I'd like to think so. Maybe when Tennant's finished filming Broadchurch, I think that's what he's doing at the minute, isn't it? Another Broadchurch?
DuckTales. He's Scrooge McDuck.
Is he?
Yeah, he's the new Scrooge McDuck. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, he's so busy, though. He's always doing voiceover work. And, yeah. And Catherine Tate's obviously very busy. Her tour is still going. I think she's touring until some point in the new year.
Yeah, you went to the tour, didn't you?
Did, yeah.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
Very good. Very funny. So they are really busy. But, yeah.
Yeah, the War Doctor stuff's been good as well, though. And I think what are we on now? We're on 3 are out, and I think 4's out early next year. Is that right? Yeah,
something
again,
like
it's so hard to keep track. But they've been really good. So we've got the John Hurt doing his stuff. It's really good how they've now managed to incorporate, some of the new series as well, I think. Because I think perhaps some Big Finish listeners are a bit divided on that. They liked the fact that they were sort of just the classic stuff,
right?
And that we had the new series on TV, and they've kind of finally crossed over now. It's taken a long time, but I think it's a good thing. Because I like what they do with it. They've taken a lot of the stuff from the TV series and almost made it better. Bits that perhaps weren't that good on TV, they've actually taken and improved, if that makes sense. I mean, I actually really enjoyed the River Song box set, which I didn't think I would, I'll be honest with you. They actually did a really good job of that. So that's a good example of them doing their thing.
Yeah. Big props to Big Finish. Can rely on them to provide lots and lots of cool Doctor Who stuff.
Yeah.
Every year, pretty much. Yeah. So it's been a year of, and also listening to other Doctor Who podcasts and YouTube channels as well. I mean, we both listen to quite a few other podcasts and Who-tubers and so on. So that's sort of been keeping us through as well, for a quiet year. So there has been a lot on. Initially, we thought, this is going to be a bit of an upward hill swim to try and get through the year with no Who. But it's actually been busy because we've been out to a few events as well. We've been to a couple. Well, you've been to loads this year. Loads of events, haven't you?
It has been quite a good year for events for me. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to. Me and you both managed to get to the London Film and Comic Con this year. I'm looking forward to next year already, because although there's not been many guests announced, you've probably seen this. They've announced a photo shoot on the classic TARDIS console.
That's
the
right.
the McCoy. Well,
Is it?
It always gets classed as the McCoy console, but if you think about it, it's technically Davison's. Some of it's Colin and it's McCoy's as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, because we got a picture on the 8th Doctor's console this year, didn't we?
Yes.
Which was really good fun.
That was great.
So I'll be going, even if no guests that I want to meet get announced this next year. I'm going to be going just to get that photo shoot, because I love that console. Yeah. So
we went to quite a few events. A couple of small ones were quite nice. I remember going to the Target exhibition at the Cartoon Museum.
Oh yeah.
That was really interesting, because we loved the Target covers, the artwork.
Oh, they're fantastic.
So they were good. And we went to you went to a couple of quite small events. So the 10th Planet stuff.
Yeah, I went to a few Phantom this year, which were good. They're quite small events, but they're really good. Yeah, some really good Phantom events this year.
Yeah. And some big ones as well. The Class premiere.
That actually is without doubt one of my highlights of my year. I mean, I may not have thought much of the series itself, but the Class premiere was a fantastic night. I have to say, I really enjoyed that. It's great to hear Patrick Ness talking about, I know we didn't enjoy it, but he clearly had a lot of passion for that show. Yeah. And I think we talked about this on when we reviewed the last episode. So without sort of trampling over his dream, it was really interesting to hear his sort of vision for the show that was just about to be released. And obviously he was, so excited that it was finally going to get aired. So yeah, that was a great premiere. I really enjoyed that, and great to see the Moff off his face. I was going to say something else, but it's a family podcast. Great to see the Moff relaxing and having a drink or six. Yeah, it was good fun. That was
the Mothball cutting loose.
Yeah, I've seen quite a lot of him this year. Actually, it's quite. I think you mentioned it recently, didn't you? It's like, I've seen quite a lot of the Moff. He's been getting around. He's been to quite a lot of the stuff I've been to. So he was at the Power of the Daleks premiere as well. Sort of sat about 5 seats away from me, and he was at the Class premiere. I've met him somewhere else as well. I've met him a few times this year, which is all a bit surreal. Yeah. Talking of Power, we got Power of the Daleks animation. That's still one of the biggest surprises for me.
Right.
In terms of when they announced it, because I never imagined in a million years that the BBC would fund the money to animate 6 episodes. I think when it was first circulating as a rumour, I was like, well, that would be fantastic, but there's no way that they could afford to animate 6 episodes, so it's clearly a lie. So when it actually was announced officially, I was pretty shocked, I have to be honest with you. I was like, wow, they've actually done that. And whatever you think of the animation, I mean, it was done in a short space of time for a limited budget. Whether you like it or not, I think you know, just to have that story in your collection DVD in some sort of format, apart from just the audio, is amazing. You know, I still sort of can't quite believe that happened. You know, so
no, absolutely, yeah, it's great. I mean, any of the classic Who that's been lost, you know, when we have an opportunity to enjoy it, even if it's not complete, you know, even I mean, that's the commitment, I suppose, and the passion that, you know, some of these people have to get this out to us, because it could. That's the good thing about Doctor Who. Although it's been treated badly over the years by people at the BBC, and it's not had much love. I'm talking about the classic years now. At least they are still putting some money into it to get the stuff out to us, because they're under no obligation to do that. You know, I know it's a bit of a money spinner, you know, and they get some, you know, some decent, well, they get a lot of revenue from merch, don't they? Let's be honest, from Doctor Who merch. But they're under no obligation to do that. Anyone at the BBC or any other company, you know, just because they found, you know, some missing episodes, whether they're video and audio or just audio, there's nobody there to say, right, you have to put that out. They could just leave it in a container somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. It's
so it's great.
It's a strange thing, isn't it? Because as a fan, it's a bit like when they found the Underwater Menace, isn't it? And it didn't come out for ages. And fans, I mean, there was petitions. They took it off the schedule for at one point. You know, there is this thing that we just naturally assume that we have a right to own it. When I suppose if you think about it, we don't really. Well, I don't know. We pay the license fee. I don't know. You could probably argue that to dawn, but I hear what you're saying. But it's such a difference between the Underwater Menace and the Power of the Daleks, though, isn't it? Like the two releases. I mean, Underwater Menace could not be more rushed and sparse, and you know, they really didn't put any effort into it. In fact, they
were told not to
purposely. Yeah, they were told not to put any effort into it, which is bizarre. But maybe it does make me think. Maybe were they planning something else for it, and in the end they just thought, oh well, we'll go with Power of the Daleks instead and plough some more money into that. I wonder if maybe that happened.
Yeah, possibly.
But I do hope and I do think that the Powers release has been strong, because there seems to have been quite a good buzz about it, which is promising for future releases. I really, really hope it's done well. It seems to have done well.
Yeah.
So because I think it was number one in the Amazon.
It was
pre-order and all that. It's certainly certainly got a bit of attention. And I mean, we have to thank, I think BBC America or whoever plumbed a lot of money into it, didn't they? I think they funded quite a bit of it. So, you know, that helped.
That helped, yeah.
Yeah, so let's hope we do get some more. Love to see some more next year.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What else happened this year? Oh, we had a new companion announced.
Yes, yeah, we got that little trailer. Was that this year?
That was this year.
The trailer? I've totally lost track. Yeah, the little trailer with the Daleks, which I didn't really think much of, but it was such a short trailer. I'm not going to judge her on that. But yeah, it's good to see our new companion in action.
Pearl
of the Mackie.
Pearl Mackie, yep. So yeah, she seems quite, she's got a bit of a mixture of Donna and Rose.
Yeah.
She seems quite attitudey, not in a bad way, but she seems like she's got some feistiness to her. A bit like we saw with Donna in the past, you know, not taking any nonsense from the Doctor. So very interesting to see how she pans out.
Yeah, and also we're going to get Nardole. That's going to be a bit of a TARDIS team, isn't it? We haven't had a sort of more than two people in the TARDIS for a while, have we? So we'll have Bill is the character name, isn't it? Bill and Nardole for.
That's right. Yep.
I think the Moff's confirmed it for all of Series 10, hasn't he? Because we thought Nardole was only going to be in a few, but I think didn't the Moff?
Yeah,
didn't he sort of confirm that he's actually going to be all of it now?
Yeah, I'm not sure about every episode, but I think he's in it throughout. Well, he could be in every episode. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, it'd be a bit of a TARDIS team, won't it?
I think it might give it a bit more of a dynamic. I mean, I'm still waiting to see how Nardole works full time as a character, but I think between the three of them might give an interesting dynamic. Yeah.
So interested to see what happens with Pearl.
I'm absolutely convinced we're going to see her at the end of the Christmas special this year. I know they said, oh, she's not in it. No, she's not. I'm sure we're going to see her at the end.
I would say so as well.
Yeah, we'll find out in a couple of days. Can you believe it? It's in just a few days' time, the Doctor Who Christmas special will be here. That year hiatus will be over.
It'll be done. Yeah, we'll be able to enjoy some new Capaldi, new story.
A new story, yeah.
It'll be great. I'll be watching it from in my hotel room. I think it goes out at 9:30 in the evening.
Okay.
Well, I think, or 10 o'clock, something like that. So I'll be there with some snacks, telling everybody to shut up if they're not asleep. If they're not asleep, that is. So yeah, it's great. I mean, talking about, just to cap off, it's been an interesting year for Doctor Who. It's been, I can only describe it as that, interesting. It's been strange because we've had no new main Doctor Who, but we've had so much other stuff continuing, none of these other companies like Big Finish or the people that make all the merch and people that are signing up the guests at Comic-Cons and all that sort of stuff. Nobody's sort of retreated into a hibernation period just because there's no new Doctor Who. Everyone's just carried on as usual. It's been that's the best way to describe it. It's been business as usual.
Business as usual. Yeah,
and it's great. And it's us as fans, I think, that really push that through. We don't just sort of go into this grumpy, there's no new Doctor Who, so sod it. And that's it.
I'll move on. I'll find another show. Yeah. None of that.
Yeah, I think Doctor Who as a fandom, as fans, I think we got some of the best fans overall. It's
a very unique fandom, and I mean that in the nicest way. It's a good fandom. I think it's given this year, it's given us all time to breathe, really, because I'm sure there are fans out there that have picked up classic Doctor Who to watch to fill in that gap, and probably found stories that they've really enjoyed that they probably wouldn't have watched had they got new Doctor Who. And I think the same for us, actually, because it's given the podcast a year to just really delve into some classic stories. We've reevaluated some of the Capaldi era as well, which we probably wouldn't have done so much if we'd have had new Capaldi stories, because that would have clashed a bit. So we've gone back and looked at some of the Capaldi stories that we didn't get to review at the time. So that's been really interesting, because it pointed out to me the sort of difference between Series 8 and 9 Capaldi a lot more than I realised, having gone back and watched them. So it's been really good in that sense. It's given us a year to really breathe and discover other things in the Doctor Who universe, and it's been good in that sense.
And there was a couple of, I think a couple of people put on some very nice reviews on iTunes, and they said something along the same lines of, it's really nice that we get to do 1 week a classic, the next week a newer Doctor Who, because it sort of takes the decision out of their hands of what Doctor Who they want to watch.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. It's like I think one of the reviewers said, it's really nice because my hand is held a little bit. So instead of me standing in front of the bookcase, in and in, it's like the Big Blue Box podcasts are going to be doing this classic story, so I'm going to watch that one.
Yeah.
Which is great. And you're right, it has given us an opportunity to really dive into all the classic stuff and, some of the Capaldi. So, yeah, it's great. And goes without saying, we're just massive fans of classic Doctor Who. Yeah. So it's been a real joy to go through and review more than what we would have done if there would have been newer Doctor Who on this year.
And there's been stories that I haven't watched for years that in the back of my, how quick time goes, in the back of my mind, I thought, I'll give you a prime example of one. What's I've forgotten the name of it now. What's the Tom Baker one that we did recently? The Sontaran Experiment. Yeah, that's the one. Yep. The Sontaran Experiment. In my head, I'm thinking, it's been, a few months since I watched that one. And then we go to review it and I realise, actually, it's probably been about 5 or 6 years. You know what I mean? In the back of my head, it's always there. It's one I know quite well. But, and so it's been really good to actually go back and watch stories like that. And and sort of relive it, because there are stories you think really well until you actually rewatch them again, and you can find something totally new and brilliant about it that you'd forgotten. Unicorn and the Wasp, for example, when you mentioned that, I was like, I don't think I really like that one. Absolutely loved it on a rewatch, because we were doing it for the podcast. So it's been really good to go back to some of these stories.
Yeah, and we kicked off this year with Revelation of the Daleks.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Which I remember being not fantastic when I first watched it, but then when we reviewed it, I gave it an 8, and you gave it an 8.5. So
I really like that one, yeah. It's funny, I can't, whenever you mention that story or anyone mentions it, I instantly hear the music in my head. Every time. You've only got to say Revelation of the Daleks, and I'm like, Revelation. That's the Colin one, isn't it?
Colin Baker. Yeah.
Oh, is that the one? Is that the one you said?
Yeah.
Sorry, I get mixed up between Revelation and what's the other one? The Resurrection.
Resurrection.
I always get those two muddled up. Yeah, it's Resurrection. I always hear the music of the doom doom doom. You know. So, yeah, Revelation. That was another one that I thought was a bit. I didn't think of it as one I particularly liked, but really enjoyed it when we reviewed it because I think Mr. Joe Bell was so brilliant in that story. Yeah, that's another one.
We had a few stories like that throughout the year where we hadn't seen them in a long time.
Yeah.
And then when it came to actually watching it again, just for this, we had to watch it because we were doing the review. You know, opinions changed a little bit, which is good.
Yeah. And I must just echo what you said. I love it that a lot of our listeners will watch the story the night before, just like we do, because it almost feels like a community then. It feels like we're all watching it together, ready to review it and chat about it the next day, which I really like, because I've noticed a lot of people saying, right, I'm just giving this a watch because the lads are doing it on the podcast this week. And, I like that. It just makes it feel like we're all watching it together. You know? And I can imagine people then listening to us on the Friday and either nodding it with agreement or shaking their head saying, no, you're wrong, a bit like with the class reviews. I think they were very divided. One of our listeners messaged, didn't he, to say that he was kind of agreed with us, but he said his family was shouting at him from the kitchen saying, they're wrong, they're missing it all and all that sort of stuff. So, I like that. It makes you feel like we're all one big community on the podcast.
It does. It's awesome, yeah. We also had a really cool chat. We did our Andrew Cartmel interview.
That was fantastic. I just loved that.
Yeah. That was back in March. So if you guys missed that, go back to episode 82.
It was he's just a fascinating bloke to listen to. I mean, I've always wanted to do that. I mean, ever since I read his book, because his book Script Doctor gives a fantastic sort of look at the McCoy era, which we both love. And just to sort of chat to him in person about it was brilliant. If you haven't listened to that interview, go back to which episode was it? 82.
82. Yep.
82. Go back and have a listen, because Andrew Cartmel is just he is a proper legend in Doctor Who. I mean, he was behind the scenes, but a very big, important part of that time. Yeah.
Had a very big influence on where the Doctor's character was going.
Yeah.
For McCoy, and really cool guy as well.
Yeah, nice guy.
And lastly, I mean, in terms of us as a podcast, we had a great year, which is surprising again, because there was no new Doctor Who on. The number of listeners or subscribers or downloads, whatever you want to call it, it just jumps up massively throughout the year, like huge. I mean, I remember sending you a couple of screenshots over the last couple of months, saying, I can't believe it. It's just. We've had it's just been incredible. Like because we've grown. The last couple of years that we've been doing it, we have grown. But this year, I think probably the last half of this year, the numbers have just gone crazy.
Yeah,
which is amazing. It has
been amazing. Yeah,
and as a result of that, we've met loads more people online. We've chatted to more people. We've made new friends, and it's just awesome. It's just been an awesome year for us and for Doctor Who in general.
Yeah, and it is nice, like you said, because there was that worry of, like, at the start of the year, the show not being around. Is anyone, is it going to drop off? Are the listeners going to drop off because there's no show to talk about? And but no, it has been amazing. So thanks everybody.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you so much for subscribing and listening to our crap,
all the waffle
each week, all the waffle, and just it's been awesome. So so year in review. That's it. I mean, it's been great. I can't really say much more. We've just moved, look forward now to 2017 and see what we can do there.
Yeah. And I think you may have already said it, but to those that left those, we've had some really nice iTunes reviews left of late and recently. Just, thank you to everyone who left a review, because it does bump us up it does help us more than you'd think. It bumps us up the list or something. You were telling me, Gary, it's all a bit technical. I don't understand it, but it bumps us up the podcast list or something. So it's all helps, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, some great stuff there. Yeah. Right, I think we should crack on with the last review of 2016, and it is a Christmassy, Wismassy, humany, woomany story. So, Adam, my good friend, what are we going to review this week?
This week, it's the Chronicles of Narnia. Oh, no, it's not. It's The Doctor, the Widow, the Wardrobe.
England, 1941. And there's a war on. Is it haunted? Who are you?
Usually call the doctor or the caretaker or get off this planet.
That man is quite ridiculous.
I know.
You must stay away from him. Why have you got a phone box in your room?
It's not a phone box, it's my wardrobe.
Sarah.
Your brother, where is he?
Quickly, come on!
Where are we?
In a forest, in a box, in a sitting room.
What do they teach you in schools these days?
There is something very wrong in this forest, and your brother's right in the middle of it.
Best Christmas ever.
I know.
I know.
Best Christmas ever, Gary.
I know.
Well.
The Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe was released, not surprisingly, on Christmas Day in 2011.
Out of interest, does it say what time this went out? I meant to have a look before we kicked off. I was just curious to see, because they tended to go a bit later back then, didn't they? Sort of around 7:30 time, something like that.
I don't know the time, unfortunately.
But it got 10.77 million viewers.
Yeah. It was
which is not bad.
It was written by the Moff, which is blindingly obvious.
Yeah, isn't it?
It was directed by Farron Blackburn. Yes. And the story is thus: the Doctor crash lands on Earth in a spacesuit with his helmet around the wrong way. A very kind lady, old Madge, finds him, takes him back to his TARDIS, and as sort of repayment for that, he says, if you ever need a favour, just make a wish, which he sort of does. And the Doctor comes back and takes the family off to a big old mansion somewhere for Christmas, because her husband was killed in the war, so the Doctor's taken them off to the house, and he's sort of sorted everything out so that all the rooms look awesome. He's, done a load of doctory stuff in each room, tried to make Christmas as nice as possible. But there's a mysterious present in the living room. The wee lad discovers it, goes through, and it's just like the title suggests. It's like the wardrobe in Narnia. He goes into the present and comes out the other side into a big forest somewhere. They all follow, and it turns out that the planet that they land on is Androzani Major, which those of you will know. We've seen in Doctor Who before. There's a big forest there, and unfortunately, the people of Androzani Major are going to destroy said forest with acid rain. So the life force of the forest needs to escape. The Doctor and Madge help that to happen. Afterwards, the Doctor guides them back home. Well, Madge guides them back home. It turns out the husband didn't die because they went a bit timey-wimey, went back. Like we said, it's a Moff episode. What goes a bit timey-wimey goes back, helps him to land his plane. They all have a nice Christmas. The Doctor has a nice Christmas. It's Christmas.
In
a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
And off the bat, I think everybody hates this story.
It's certainly not very well regarded, this one.
Yeah, I think everybody's got... I think everybody literally hates this story with a passion. I'm going to go straight off the bat and say it's not great, but I didn't watch it and think it was terrible.
Okay.
I didn't think it was absolutely terrible, but I don't think it's very good either. What about you?
I thought I didn't think it was terrible, but I just found it incredibly boring.
Yes.
And when I say I didn't think it was terrible, I didn't think it was very good either. So don't get me wrong. I really didn't think it was very good. No. this is only the second time I've watched it. So the first time I watched it was when it aired. I was absolutely plastered. I couldn't remember anything from it, but I could remember that I didn't think it was very good, and I've never gone back to it. I've never gone back to it, but I thought, right, okay, let's give this a go. I was really hoping that it could surprise me. I thought, come on, it's almost like a fresh special to me because I couldn't remember much about it. So I put it on last night. I thought it started off quite well, actually. I was thinking, there's some nice humour going on here. I love all the stuff with Matt at the beginning with the rooms and his excitement, and he seems to be reveling in the script at the start. I thought, oh, okay, maybe this isn't as bad as I remember. But as soon as we get all that out of the way and the kid goes into the box and all that, it really lost it for me. I was looking at the clock counter thinking, okay, I'm on 41 minutes now. Is this a 45-minute episode? Because how the hell can this carry on for another 20 minutes? I literally could feel myself losing the will to live. I kept thinking nothing is happening, and it's only 40 minutes in. So yeah, I get why people don't like this one because I didn't think it was very good. But there are moments, thanks to Matt Smith. I really felt when this ended that I'd have loved to have just gone up to him in the studio and taken him for a very large drink at the bar, because man, does he deserve it. He tries so hard to put energy into this lifeless story. It's unbelievable. I mean, he really does. He really earned his money on this story, trying to make it good. You can tell he's trying really hard. But it's not good at all. No.
He does try his best.
Oh, he really does. And I mean, any bit of, if there's anything good in it, it's him. He's the only thing in it that I like, really. So yeah, I mean, starting at the beginning though, right? So this starts with him on a spaceship that's exploding, and then he gets thrown out into space.
Yep.
After a spacesuit. So he's in space.
Mm-hmm. I know.
How is he breathing? Like, he's in space and he's just floating through space.
Yeah.
There is no oxygen. I'm just so that's the very start of the episode, is him flying after a spacesuit to get into it. It's a healing spacesuit, I get it. But even so, I was just like, so what's the spaceship then? What's the relevance of this? And this is what Moffat does all the time, isn't it? Is he just throws stuff in for no reason whatsoever. Yeah. It's like, how can I start the episode? How can I make the start of this episode exciting? Right, let's start on an exploding spaceship with the Doctor hurtling through space. That's exciting. It has no relevance. It never gets explained. I think it might be in the prequel that they did a little prequel to this or something. I don't know. But yeah, even that, I was just like, what's going on?
Yeah,
so it did get me off to a very good start.
Yeah, I mean, the start was good when we see that huge spaceship over the Earth, and it's about to obliterate the Earth by the look of it.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden you see like these explosions and the Doctor's running through. I thought that was a good way to pick up the story, because we did have that little prequel that went out online.
I wish I'd watched it, actually, because I can't remember. I know there was a prequel.
Yeah, you can watch it on YouTube now. It's that went out right at the beginning of December, and it was essentially just, I think it was the Doctor trying to call Amy,
right, while
he was on that ship, and he had basically wired up this, the classic, big red button, which he was holding, and if he let that go, then that's when the ship would start to explode and so on. So
I do remember that, actually. Yeah.
And we do see, but if you hadn't seen that, it's not too bad, because when you pick up the beginning of the episode, it's quite a good way, because we don't really need to know why the Doctor's on the ship. We don't need to know who the ship belongs to or anything like that. It's just cool that we see the Doctor in the middle of another adventure.
That we don't know about.
So that was good. But then when he does go flying through space after the spacesuit and so on, there are ways. I mean, I think there was quite a lot of discussion in this episode between the Moff and the director, Farron Blackburn, because I think from what I remember reading, the Moff wanted this to be a really Christmassy episode and not get too hung up on scientific details too much, whereas Farron Blackburn said, but it feels like we're sort of drifting into the realm of magic rather than science fiction. So I think there was a little bit of to-ing and fro-ing there about what, how much were they expecting viewers to sort of just, suspend their belief for a little while?
Mm-hmm.
And when you see the Doctor sort of flying through space when there's clearly no oxygen, everybody knows when we're watching it that that's not possible, but they expect you to go with it.
Yeah,
because
a bit like the Rings of Akaten.
Yeah,
it's just like when he's flying through space on the bike and thinking, well, how's he breathing? You just have to go with it.
You have to go with it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this episode is very much like that. It's just a very sort of fairy tale-esque Christmassy episode. You know what I mean? I don't think it it doesn't take itself too seriously in the realm of science fiction, put it that way.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But it is a great opening. It is a great opening.
It does make for a good opening. Yeah, as I said, that's why I had hopes that perhaps this wasn't as bad as I remembered, because the starts, you've got that, and then you've got the bit, and I don't know about you, but I like the humour at the start when the Doctor's the caretaker and he's showing around the rooms, and there's some really nice one-liners from Matt. Like when he jumps, he's like, "Stand back, guys! I'll show you how to do it," and all that. I thought, this is nice. I like all this. And the Doctor's made the Christmas tree, and it's an awesome Christmas tree, and really suits Matt's Doctor, all that sort of humour. So I liked that actual bit of it.
Yeah, that was cool, because he's got that big kid thing about him where he's obviously not into Christmas itself, but you can tell that he's taking real pleasure in seeing the kids' faces sort of light up because he's made the rooms amazing and they're enjoying Christmas and he loves it. So he's got that real sort of big kid playfulness about him, especially in that first sort of third of the episode where it's all set in the house and so on.
Yeah, Matt Smith does that really well, I think. He's good at doing that humour, yeah.
And really, to an extent, probably before that as well, when the space helmet is round the wrong way.
Oh, yeah, that's quite funny.
That's quite funny as well, and she picks the lock on the TARDIS, which is not the actual TARDIS, it's a proper police box and so on.
Yeah.
And he's talking to her and he's sort of bumbling around and, he can't talk to her properly and stuff. But so I think up to that point, I quite like it.
It starts off promising, doesn't it?
It does.
You sort of think, okay, yeah. And it looks, to be fair to them, so this is 2011, you said, didn't you?
Yeah.
So to be fair to them, visually, it looks pretty good as well.
It does.
I thought. Yeah, on the whole, I think there is one visual which we'll come to later, which really lets it down, because it's a shame, because
I know
most
what
of
he's
the
talking
episode,
about as well.
You do, do you? Yeah, I thought you would. Up until that point, it's visually quite a nice episode. Like it looks like they've spent a bit of money on it, and it does look. Yeah, it's a nice looking episode. I mean that bit with the Doctor in the space at the start when she's driving him up to the TARDIS. It's a beautiful, in the old fashioned car, and you've got the police box, on that village green, and that's beautifully shot and everything. And even the stuff when we go into Androzani, through the box, all the snow and all that, it all looks really, really nice. So that's a good thing about it. But it's just the story, really, isn't it? It's just that the story, isn't engaging. I mean, I can't imagine any kids sitting through it. I think they might enjoy the beginning like we did, but I can't imagine any kids getting further than half an hour in without switching over or going off. And it really doesn't have it didn't hold my attention at all. Once we got into the story, it takes a long time to get into the story for a start.
It does.
But when we do get into it, it's not that clear. I'm not sure. The direction seems a bit rubbish as well, because we keep cutting between shots and stuff. It doesn't flow, in other words. And the story is not strong enough to fill that hour. That's what I kept thinking. I kept thinking there's not enough story here to fill an hour. There probably should be. I mean, there's enough things going on, but there's not enough content in there it's just weak in terms of the storyline, really.
Well, we'll come on to something in a minute that I wrote down actually about how they could have fleshed the story out a bit more. But but for me, the story goes downhill when Reg goes through the present.
Yeah, exactly. Same for me. Yeah.
From that point on, that's when I felt the story just slows right down and just loses its mojo a little bit. Because up to that point, Matt Smith was really, really good. And he's really good at the end as well.
Yes.
Towards the end, he's really good and he's great. And he has like little moments, throughout. Don't get me wrong, he is great in this episode.
Yeah.
He really does try his best to sort of act his socks off around people that are not so great in the episode, so he does, you can tell he's really, he's earning his money that day.
Yeah.
But so when the little lad Reg goes through the present, it's at that point the story just seems to click into a different gear.
Yeah.
And it's almost like we're going down a gear. So we've had a really great intro and a nice sort of setup to the story. And we've had that suspense factor as well, where Lily goes up to the attic where the doctor's working away on stuff. And we have that sort of suspenseful moment where he's like, "Where's your brother?" And she goes in and she thinks she sees him asleep in a hammock, but he's actually, gone through the present.
The old teddy bear trick or something the doctor says, doesn't it? Yeah.
The old teddy trick. So we have that bit, which is really good. You're thinking, so why is the doctor so concerned about where he is, and he's working away, and it's good stuff. It is pretty good. But then when they go through to, I was going to say Narnia, then when they go through to Androzani Major, which is, it is, I must admit, it's great hearing that name again.
It is. Yeah.
When we have the cameos from the three comedians.
Oh dear.
And he says, you are on Androzani Major. I did have a little sort of Davison geek second there. So it was good. But yeah, it goes flat as a pancake at that point for me. Especially
those, we may as well talk about those three comedian guest stars that we get in the middle. To be fair to Bill, because who have we got? So we've got Bill Bailey.
Droxil.
As Dropsill.
Yeah, we've got Paul Baisley.
Is he the guy from Benidorm?
Yeah, he plays Vengar.
Yeah, he's awful.
Yeah, and Arabella Weir, who plays Billis.
And she's not much better. To be fair, out of the three, Bill Bailey is okay. I think he actually is the only one seems to be trying to take it seriously, but also give a comedy edge, if you like. Yeah. Like the other two just ham it up unbelievably, especially the guy from Benidorm. Mm-hmm. He's awful. When the whole joke about is it a gun or is it a cardigan or something? Oh my god! That whole scene is just horrific. I think that's the point where it started to slow down. You're starting to get bored, and then you get that scene. And for me, that's when I was just like, oh dear, this really is not good, is it? It's at that point it just goes from bad to worse, I think. But out of the three, I don't know about you, mate. I thought Bill Bailey was okay. He only gets a few lines, to be fair, but he's all right. But the other two, I didn't think were very good.
Yeah, it was quite. You can see what they were trying to do, like inject a little bit of humour into because it is. If you look at it as a story point at that point in the episode, we've got a little kid here alone in the forest. It's not the happiest of moments, I know it's with Madge, but we've still got the little kid off on his own. Mm-hmm. Who's gone through the forest, and it's all sort of taken a bit of a the sort of happy Christmassy vibe has gone at that point. Yeah. So they do try and inject a little bit of humour in with these guys, and that's what I was going to say earlier about how they could have fleshed this out a bit more. They could have made a much better use of these three characters.
Yeah,
they could have used those characters a bit further on in the story, because we find out that they are they're sort of making sure that anyone that's caught in the forest at that time needs to be evacuated because of the acid rain. So all they know is that the forest is being, destroyed. What they don't know is that the life force of all the trees, is being extracted and going to be, flown off to a safer land almost. So they don't know any of that. So it would have been nice to expose them a little bit, to that part of the story. And then they could have gone off or been killed or whatever, whichever way you wanted to, get rid of them in the story after that. But they just wasted to me because Bill Bailey was funny.
He's fine. He's like you said, he could have been in it a lot more. It would have been good.
They so should have used them. But there we go. That would have provided a bit more of a exciting bit and funny, bit in the story, moving forward. But we had to rely on Matt to pull out his best acting chops.
To carry it. You mentioned the life force from the trees. That just brings me back to the effects. Is that the same bit you were thinking of when I said about there's one effect that really lets the rest down? I was referring to the stars.
Yeah.
Is that what you were thinking?
I wasn't thinking of that, but yeah.
Okay.
The stars, they do look very basic.
They look like they've been borrowed from the Peter Davison title sequence. Yeah, they really wouldn't look out of place in 80s Doctor Who. It's quite surprising considering the quality of some of the other effects in it. But they look a bit shoddy to me in the scenes. Which bit were you thinking of then?
I was thinking a bit at the end where Madge is like they're inside that dome ship, that dome shaped ship, and they're flying through the time vortex.
Yeah.
And they've taken like some of the triangular panels and turned them into a screen so they can see where they're going. And the way that they it looks terrible. Like especially when Matt Smith is standing in front of the panel, and it looks really bad because all they've done is use the title sequence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was thinking that's lazy.
Yeah, they've just used the title sequence and just overlaid, the edges of the triangle screen on it, and it looks awful. Especially the bit where Matt Smith's standing in front of it. Yeah,
yeah, I'd forgotten about that. That does look awful as well.
Yeah.
Why is she? She's got to. Is she flying the ships on her memories or something? At this point, I'll admit I had zoned out, so I didn't really know. Because why does she have to confess that he's dead in front of the kids? Because I found that a little uncomfortable to watch, to be honest. I was like, this is not nice for Christmas Day. Like, I get, didn't. But why has she got to do that?
Well, she hasn't got to, but in order for her to lock on to getting them all back. That's one of the strongest. I think it revolves around, earlier on in the episode when Matt Smith was when the Doctor, was quizzing her about why she hasn't told the kids the truth yet about their dad's death. She was saying that she didn't want to do it at Christmas because that's when they're the most happy, happiest times. And the Doctor was saying, well, you don't want to tell them because. I think in a nutshell, he was saying you don't want to tell them because it would then tarnish your memory of them being happy because once you tell them, they're going to be sad.
Yeah.
But I think when she was guiding the ship or flying it through the time vortex, because the pain of knowing that's like the strongest memory. So that will bring them back.
It's the memories guiding them back.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I assumed that's what was going on, but it didn't make for very nice viewing, and I just didn't quite understand what was happening. But as I said, it's mainly because I wasn't really engrossed in the story. I think. Yeah.
I don't think necessarily the memories, but just the her feeling about it, maybe, or so. It's along those lines anyway. But it did get a bit uncomfortable with the Doctor saying about
Tell them,
that. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just another example of that section of the story just being a bit, because the Moff's sort of MO for this, so he reckons, was to create one of the most Christmassy Doctor Who stories. You really want it to be a typical, good old Christmas story, but it's only the beginning and the end to me that are very Christmassy. The rest of it's just, the rest of it's just fairly meh.
Yeah, I have to say, while you're explaining the story to me, because I clearly haven't watched it well enough, the wooden people.
The wooden king and queen.
Why are they? Who are they?
No
Why
idea.
are they there? Okay.
No idea.
No, because I kept thinking that was one thing I didn't understand either. I didn't know who they were or what they were doing. And also, the Doctor's very quick to assume they're evil when they're not, are they? Because he's like, don't you harm her or something. I was thinking normally the Doctor's the one saying don't judge before, but he just instantly thinks they're bad and they're not. But I didn't get the whole tree people thing either. I didn't know why they were there or what they were doing, and they don't actually do anything, do they? Apart from blink a lot. They do blink a lot. They'd be no good around a weeping angel.
Yeah, I don't know why they were there. If there's a huge, massive forest, there's only two of them.
Yeah, I just, if listeners are screaming at us saying, "Wow, they're there because blah blah," I think it's just because I just wasn't interested enough to pay attention. But yeah, I mean, they looked visually quite good, I thought. Again, like a lot of things in this episode, totally wasted because they do nothing. But they look quite nice, don't they?
Yeah, they look all right.
Yeah, a little bit rubbery for a tree, but they look quite good. Yeah.
Yeah. And
okay, well that's good. I'm glad you didn't know what they were there for either, because I thought I'd missed something else.
Yeah, not quite sure on that one.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the two children, Lily and Reg.
Oh dear.
So Reg, quite annoying.
I'll just say I found both of them quite annoying. I actually found the girl more annoying, actually.
Yeah,
because I don't know why when they have kids in Doctor Who they have to be really annoying and brat-like. I mean, I know a lot of kids are, but not all of them are. So they could have made one of them a bit annoying and the other one not, or something, rather than both of them just being. But then again, when you look at the mum, is it any wonder that they turned out like that? Because she's just as annoying as well. So I think they get it from her.
Yeah. Let's just write them off then as annoying, because they are pretty much. I mean, she's the girl Lily as well. She's very wants to be involved in sort of the adult conversations about what's going on. She sort of demands that her mum tells her what's going on with the dad and so on. So yeah, they're annoying, aren't
they? The kids are annoying. I think there was potential for some nice scenes between Lily and Matt's doctor, because she likes him, doesn't she? So she's like, there's that bit, like you said before, they realise that the boy has gone through the parcel or whatever, that they're having a little conversation, and there was some room there for some comedy or whatever and some nice scenes, but it doesn't happen. So she just comes across as annoying. What's the kid called?
The kid's called Cyril.
Cyril, he's the one with the big glasses.
I've been calling him Reg for the last half an hour.
Oh, Reg is the dad.
Reg is the dad. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
which we'll get onto in a sec. But I don't think he's out of the two. I think he's the lesser annoying, the kid with the big glasses. But there's not much in it, to be fair.
Let's talk about Reg then, the dad.
All right, just before we do that, the mum.
Oh, the mum.
I can't let her get off that easy.
Well, we'll come on to the mum in a second.
Oh, all right then. Okay.
So Reg, then he only has a small part. Alexander Armstrong.
Yeah, what a shame, because he's actually really good.
Yep, he just basically plays the little plot filler bit, so we understand visually that their dad's plane went down over the channel. They
should have had him in it more, because he's good. He's a perfectly good actor. He's likable, even though he's only in it for 1.5 minutes. He's really wasted, and it's such a shame. I think he could have made this possibly a half decent story if they'd have had more of him in it, because he's good. I like him, but we just don't get. He's only in the bit in the bomber and the scene at the end, isn't he?
Pretty much.
Yeah, such a shame. In fact, this is a very common thing in Doctor Who, especially Christmas specials. They get these guest stars in and they give them about 3 lines, and you wonder why. You wonder why they even took the part, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just to be in Doctor Who. So yeah, it's a shame, I think, because he was good, but he's hardly in it.
He is good, and he's got a new album out for Christmas as well.
He's got an album out?
Yep, sings some old classical songs.
Really?
Alexander Armstrong, yeah.
Didn't know that.
Available in Woolworths and
Woolworths?
Our Price and whatever.
You off to Wimpy later?
But they should have used him a bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, he should have been in it more, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Madge then. Claire Skinner.
For me, one of the most annoying people in it. I really, really disliked her character and her performance. You on about the mum?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Madge,
I couldn't stand her. Really found it irritating. Yeah,
she is quite irritating. I don't think she was too bad. I think she has like a typical British wartime vibe about her, which is quite good. But in terms of her character, again, it's the thing that's sort of par for the course for this episode for me is that she's all right at the beginning, and then she's all right at the end. But in the middle, she can be a bit. What's the word I'm looking for? She can be a wee bit. No, I don't know. She can just be a bit annoying.
I just found her ungrateful.
Yeah,
the doctor's trying really hard, and she's just walking around this sour old face. And I know her husband's died. I'll give her some slack for that.
But you let her off a little bit.
I let her off a little bit. But no, I really didn't like her. I didn't like the character, but I didn't like the performance either from the actress, whatever her name was. I just didn't warm to her in the slightest. So I wasn't bothered what happened to her, if you see what I mean. And considering the ending's especially quite an emotional moment for her, it didn't work for me because of that. Yeah.
I like the scene at the end where she sees the Doctor off. That was okay.
Yes, yeah,
That's quite nice.
That is quite a nice scene.
And when Reg comes in and he sees the TARDIS dematerialise and then she's very sort of off the cuff. She's like, "Oh, what's she say? He's going back. He's flying back into the time vortex. I've been there. It's quite nice."
That's it. Yeah, and he just sort of thinks, "Shall I question it? Nah, I'll just get on with things."
Yeah, he probably thinks, today's been crazy enough.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So she's okay. She's okay. She's okay.
She's all right. It's a nice scene. I do like that end scene. Again, perhaps she'd have worked better if she'd have had more scenes with Reg, because they do have that sort of couple thing going on that, could have been quite good. Yeah. But yeah.
Let's talk about the Doctor. So no companions in this story. It's just the Doctor.
No,
solo.
he has to carry it on his own, doesn't he? Pretty much.
Yes, because at the end of when would we have seen him before? The Wedding of River Song.
Was that the one before this?
Yeah.
God,
yeah.
My word.
Yeah. And they reckon they think he's dead.
Why do they see, again, it's so long since I watched Series 6, I couldn't remember why.
Yeah.
Why do they think he's dead?
Well, I don't know, because Series 6 is a bit of a...
I haven't watched it for years.
I'm not too fond of that one, so I don't really reach for those ones. But yeah, anyway, the Rory and Amy think he's dead, so he's got no companions throughout the story. But Matt is trying his damn hardest in this one.
Oh man, does he earn his stripes for this?
He does.
He has to carry the whole episode. And to be fair to him, when he's in it, he's great. He's really good with the humour in this story.
Yeah.
But bless him.
He's good. I don't think he's good. Unfortunately, I don't think he's good enough to save the story. Unfortunately, but he is doing his thing in typical Matt Smith fashion, and he does have some very funny moments in the story, and he does have some nice emotional bits as well. He does have a couple of nice scenes.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, as we're sort of getting towards the end now, I will say the end scene with Amy and Rory is just beautiful. It's amazing that after such a terrible episode, just when I'm ready to sort of eject the disc and throw it
as a
away,
coaster. Yep.
use it to prop the table up. So it's, but yeah, just as I'm about to give up on this whole episode, we get this beautiful end scene between the Doctor, Amy, and Rory, and it's so touching. I mean, I just thought, it finished. I was like, that. I love that last moment. I really do. Where he goes back and opens the door, and she's like, "I'm not hugging first, and nor am I." And she's pretended to be cross, and they've set the place for him, which they do every year apparently. And he realizes that, because there's this scene actually between him and the mum that I don't like, isn't there? About, she's like, well, where are your family? And he's like, "Oh, I don't do anything for Christmas," and all that. So it really plays into that end scene that the Doctor feels like he doesn't have a home, that he's just rattling around in that TARDIS on his own. And when he does realise that somebody cares, Matt acts that just so well. His facial expression and wiping the tear at the end, it's brilliant. I mean, it's just a brilliant scene. I can't say it enough. I loved that end scene.
Yeah, his acting at the end there, because he's playing two emotions there. He's playing because earlier on in the scene when they find out that he didn't die, that she was able to guide his plane, back to where they were. And all the family are hugging. The Doctor does say, happy crying.
That's right.
Very humany woomany, or something like that. And at the end, he has that same emotion, doesn't he? Where he's so sort of taken aback with happiness that he starts to cry. So he's playing like the realization that he does, he shares that human element with crying when you're so happy. But he's also emotional because, that Amy has set a place for him like she always does, apparently, according to Rory. So it's really great. It's really great that he doesn't do the typical, he's just got that single tear and he's got a bit of a smile on his face. He wipes it away, and it's a nice sort of close off to the story.
It's almost as if he's sort of forgotten how to cry, or like he's almost as like his first ever tear, isn't it? Because he wipes it away as if like what's this?
Yeah.
Why am I can't believe I'm feeling this. It's a really nice scene. I love it. The only thing I think, when he's like, I'm not hugging first, and Amy's like, I'm not hugging first. What I would have loved is I would have loved Rory to have bounded around the corner at that point and just gone, hey,
give him a hug. Yeah.
That would have been quite funny. But he does come around the corner, but not till later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's a beautiful ending to a very poor episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say before we move on to our scores? The only thing I've got here is I would have liked it to have been a bit more, I know it's going to sound daft, but I would have liked it to have been a bit more Christmassy, seeing as we were set up for a very Christmassy story. The only Christmassy bit we have in it really is seeing the Christmas tree in the living room at the house where they're staying at, and snow in the forest. That's the only things really. And obviously the present that he jumps through. But, I didn't really get that nice sort of glass of, mulled wine by the fire, proper Christmas Carol feel to it. And that was what this episode was marketed as. The Moff was very keen, to tell people that this is one of the most Christmassy stories of Doctor Who, and I didn't feel that really.
No, I didn't at all. I think I would agree with you on that. I start to worry about the Moff around this point because I can remember getting a text from my friend who's a big Doctor Who fan after this aired saying, oh, the Moff's got to go. And this was quite early on. It wasn't before the massive backlash against them. And I remember I hadn't really watched it properly. So I was like, no, the Moff's great. The Moff's great. But it is around about this point that I started to worry about the Moff, because I think, was it the year before that we got the Christmas Carol? Or was it the year after? I can't remember. But when he started doing these parodies, it started worrying me that he was really running out of ideas, because the Christmas Carol is just a sort of Moffat rehash of A Christmas Carol. So I thought, well, that's not even your idea, and you're just... So then we get this, which is very clearly ripping off Narnia. So it is around about this time that I started to worry about the Moff, whereas I'd been sort of almost defending him up to now. I was like, no, Series 5 was great. Series 6, well, it needs a rewatch, and but it was at this sort of point I started to think some of the Moffat bashers might have a point because of that. I just thought, maybe he is running out of ideas. Yeah, but we did get some good stuff from him after this. Some,
we had some. Yeah.
Yes,
we had some.
Yeah.
So there we go.
I'm saying it like he's already gone. He's still got a year of him.
Yeah. He's not. We haven't launched him out the fire escape yet.
Actually, I must just quickly say, in this month's Doctor Who magazine, he does a page at the start where he answers people's letters. Yeah. Every single one of them is asking him something about, did you like this when you were the producer? And I don't know if they've done it on purpose, obviously, but it's a running joke in his page. He's like, I haven't gone yet. It's the answer to every question. So, yeah. Right, what are you going to score it, mate? I think it's yours.
No, it's your turn to go first.
Oh, no, is it? Okay.
It is.
3.5 out of 10.
3.5.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to give this a 4.
A 4, okay.
Yeah. Yes, I'll leave it a 4. Just because I love Matt in it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think 3 of my points are for Matt, and the other half is for... well, actually, the end scene...
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's great.
Could bump it up to a 4. I'm going to join you. No, I am going to join you at a 4, actually, because that end scene is brilliant. I do love it, even though it's only a couple minutes long. And the effects are good, and Matt is brilliant, but the story is awful. I'm going to join you.
You're going to give it a 4 as well. Come on. It's Christmas.
Come on, it's Christmas. I'll give it a 4. I think it's too high, but I'll give it a 4. Go on.
Double 4s. I'm sure there's a bingo slang in there somewhere. All the 4s. 44. No, there's nothing.
44. No, the only one I know is Two Fat Ladies, 88. But I think that's politically incorrect now, so you're not allowed to say it.
Two Little Ducks, 22.
22.
No, there's no 44, mate.
Legs 11.
Legs 11. Yeah. Bingo. The most,
Why are we doing bingo? It's Christmas. Anything can happen.
Anything. Right. What did you guys think? We had. We had a bunch of audio reviews, and we had 6 in, so we're going to do these 2 at a time.
Right.
So we're going to do Joe Sweeney, followed by Loopy Lou.
Hello, Gary and Adam. Hope you're too well. The Doctor Within the Wardrobe is one of the forgettable stories out of a modern Who series. It started off very well for the first 2 minutes when the Doctor was running away from the exploding spaceship and then hurtling down towards the Earth while trying to put on the spacesuit. And then afterwards, everything just fell apart. I think the storyline, the plot, and the script wasn't that very good. The co-cast was underwhelming. The guest star comedians was pretty much wasted. The tree alien thing just looked ridiculous. And there wasn't much happening, and there was no big major threat. And I wasn't even drawn by any of it. And also with Madge's story of how she met her husband and that he followed her home, that's not love. That's just really creepy. I have no idea what Moffat was on when he written that part of the script. What got me watching this episode was just the Doctor himself and Matt Smith. And Matt did give a fair decent performance, even though he's been given a bad story. Is it worse than the Christmas Carol? Pretty much, yes. But I did like the ending though, when the Doctor sees Amy and Rory again. And also the only time I will watch this episode when I'm doing my Doctor Who series marathon. So not a good story. So I'll give a score of a 4 out of 10. And I hope you all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And speak to you all in 2017. Farewell for now.
Why is Gary making us watch this? It's silly from the off and not really in a good way. The story isn't well written and it's quite slow, so it's hard going sometimes. The music is way too much and often unnecessarily over the top when not a lot is going on. There are some nice moments in it though, which is frustrating as it could have been so much better. I would give it a 3 out of 10. And a Merry Christmas, everybody!
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Joe and Lou. I love the fact you got the blame. Why is Gary making us watch this? Actually, it was your fault. I remember when you said, I was like, no, let's not do that one. You were like, yeah, let's do it, man.
Let's do it. Let's
get it done.
Yeah.
Joe's got a very good point I must quickly pick up on about the stalker issue. I'd forgotten about that. About him following her home and said, I'm going to keep following you till you marry me. Yeah. Moffat, your idea of romance is really bizarre. It's just, that is stalking. That is not love.
Yeah. It's a bit stalkery.
Yeah.
Humany woomany. Anyways, over on Twitter, George Garrity says, sorry for not submitting their comments for a while, but here's my review. He just says, nope, 0.5 out of 10.
Wow, thank you, George.
Tom Dix says, awful until the last scene with 11, Amy and Rory. That scene sums up Christmas spirit for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Tom.
Mr. Andy Frankham Allen says, hated it originally, but it's grown on me a lot. Find it rather magical now. Moff's second best Christmas episode. Interesting to find out. Would be interested to find out what you think your favourite Christmas episode is from the Moff. The Hoarder says, I actually really love this. Simple and fun and easy watch. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, he's taking the mickey, isn't he?
He's been on the Christmas mulled wine a little bit there.
He's been on the mulled wine, yeah.
He's been necking the old eggnog.
He's been robotised.
Yeah. Over on Facebook. Actually, no, let's do some more audio clips. This is going to be Owen Daly and Adam the Ultimate Whovian.
Hi, Gary and Adam. Hope you're both well, and I'm wishing you a very, 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 very Merry Christmas. It's really nice to say Christmas now, isn't it? But with Christmas comes the Doctor Who Christmas special, and yep, 2011's Christmas special. Not that good. No, The Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe. Just the title in itself makes you kind of cringe and go, oh, what? What was that special? Now, this is the one special that my whole family sat down and watched with me. Don't know what was happening. And of course it turns out to be the worst Christmas special, and now everyone just thinks it's a heap of crap nowadays. I think the plot is so paper thin, I don't understand the whole Narnia references. I can't even remember, where does the wardrobe come into play? Is the wardrobe the TARDIS or what? Because as far as I remember, they go through a present. I didn't think the acting was very good. The woman who plays Madge, I thought she gave an alright performance, but I thought the whole underlying theme of their father's death was kind of made all like it was Stephen Moffat at his best, bringing him back to life at the end. Like, I know it was Christmas and all, but I really think it did undermine everything that had gone beforehand, and the whole kind of build up where you felt sorry for the family because their dad was dead at Christmas, which I did enjoy in that story until they brought him back. The Wooden King, Wooden Queen, they looked cool, but they did nothing. And then don't talk about the end, them flying the thingy around the time vortex. Just no, didn't look good. I'm going to give this special a 3 out of 10, definitely the weakest, and have a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe. Oh dear God! This episode infuriated me at Christmas. It literally did. The characters were bland, the acting was a bit dull, the premise, it had it, but it didn't. And poor Matt Smith, like, I feel like he's actually a decent Doctor, but he's not got it. He didn't get it. I guess he works well with children, but Claire Skinner, and oh my God. Oh, crikey. Those wooden trees is ridiculous. Whew. Well, yeah. I hope you all have a fantastic holiday, Merry Christmas, and have a good one. Goodbye, my dears.
I think we finished that off.
I think he's
we've
had enough.
blown his fuse.
He's done, isn't he?
Yeah, thanks to the comments, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much. Right, over on Facebook, Adam Pink says, what a dreadful episode. I'm all for a fun story, especially at Christmas, but this is beyond awful. Some of Moffat's worst dialogue, which is saying something, and terrible villains, if they can be called that, a waste of some pretty good comedic actors, and an awful ending. The only thing that saves this from a 1 or even a 0 is Matt still tries to carry the episode with an energetic performance. 2 out of 10. On that note, have a great Christmas. Oh dear.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Martin Vincent, Bad Wolf, says, absolutely awful. Don't even know where to start. He followed me home through the woods is a bit creepy.
Yeah.
Different time, ? I get the feeling Moff spent very little time on this one. If memory serves, it didn't start shooting until October. Absolutely waste of 3 comedians they had in cameo form. Why is this the one that has more releases than any other Christmas special? Doesn't even bother to give it a score because it's, no.
It doesn't even,
Yep.
doesn't even bother.
Not good there. Jeff Waddle says, there are some Doctor Who stories that are great. There are some that are so bad they are great. Then there are some that are so bad they are rotten. Some that genuinely seem very little good in and wish that it didn't exist. This is one of them. I managed half of this one on transmission, and this was me finished buying any more DVDs of the new stuff. Utter garbage. Matt Smith got increasingly shafted with rubbish scripts as his era went on, and unfortunately, the odd cracker aside, the same is happening with Capaldi. Jeff not feeling it.
No, kind of agree with him though.
Yeah. Sammy Satine says, so the Doctor goes to Narnia and gives the White Witch what for? He also meets Aslan. Oh no, wait, that didn't happen. Instead, we get Madge Harwell, who selflessly helps the Doctor back to the TARDIS one time, getting a Christmas present from the Doctor that is a portal to another world, with Christmas trees with a wooden king and queen. I completely understand the kids rolling their eyes at 11. Yes, hammocks are good, but the room modifications are OTT. I do find 11 extremely enthusiastic in this one, which is good and worrying. I think I'd preferred if he'd gone to Narnia. 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. Cheers, Sammy.
Miles Mackenzie, I don't know where to begin. The story is awful and cringy. The wooden monsters are a waste, and the child casting wasn't great either. Feels like a poor attempt at recreating Narnia. Matt does give the best, and he does have a few good lines. The story of the father dying was a strong and deep plot, which was not executed to its potential. Overall, a 1 out of 10.
Oh, dear.
Hope you both have a good Christmas. Enjoy Doctor Who, The Return of Dr. Mysterio. Thank you very much, Miles.
Thank you.
Lewis Palmer says, awful. Truly abysmal. I'd rather watch Warriors of the Deep, The Leisure Hive, or The Twin Dilemma together in one sitting than have to sit through this weird, misguided embarrassment that dares to call itself a Doctor Who story. The only good thing about it is the final scene where we see a really lovely little bit with the Doctor and the Ponds. Madge is in love with her husband because he followed her home and wouldn't stop until she married him. That's not romantic, it's creepy.
Yes.
And wow, that kid's acting. I know he's young, but really should have cast someone else because he can't act to save his life. Anyway, 2 out of 10 for the final score. And the other point is for Matt Smith because despite everything, he clearly tries his best to save the episode. And you feel sorry for him. Merry Christmas, guys.
Cheers, Lewis.
Ah, Lewis. Right, our final 2 audio clips. This is Joe O'Halloran and Jay Kent.
Hello, Big Blue Box podcast. So I'll get straight into it. In my opinion, The Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe isn't the worst episode in the world, but it's definitely not the best. The story isn't too hard to follow. There are a few timey-wimey elements in there, but it's not too heavy compared to other Moffat episodes. There isn't a massive amount of characters in this story, which means we get to focus on the plot to the episode a bit more, and we get to explore some of the characters a bit more as well, such as Madge Arwell. I really wasn't a fan of the wooden king and queen, or all the stars going into Madge's head. This was what ruined the story for me, really, as I was really enjoying it up until this stage. The highlight of the episode for me was when Amy and Rory found out the Doctor wasn't dead, and it was a great way to end the episode. And finally, I like how there was a meaning behind the story, that no one should be alone at Christmas. Overall, as a Christmas special, it sort of has a purpose, but I felt like it was a little rushed at points, and for me, the only time I can rewatch it is at Christmas. So I hope you have a Merry Christmas, and I'm looking forward to your future podcasts.
Hey, Gary and Adam, Merry Christmas. Now, last episode of 2016, and you couldn't have gone out on a high, could you? The Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe. This is the first episode of Doctor Who I distinctly remember despising. Usually, I give every episode to do on here a rewatch, but I'm not even going to give this one the light of day. An utter waste of Bill Bailey, Alexander Armstrong and Claire Skinner. A spaceship that can only be controlled by a mum because it's a mothership, a pilot who safely travelled through the time vortex and made it out alive. Now, you know, don't get me wrong, this episode has some nice bits in it. Well, when I say some, I mean one, that quote about making people happy even though they're going to be sad later. Nice little quote, love it. Too bad the other 59 minutes are too awful for words. And people say the last scene makes up for it. I hate that scene. Here we have the Ponds confront a man who they've seen killed in front of them, and they're so casual about it. Rory's just like, oh, you're not dead then. 10 out of 10 for realism, Moffat, you complete and utter wazzock. At least it made me look forward to Dr. Mysterio, because nothing can be as god-awful as this load of tripe, which I unashamedly give 1 out of 10. Merry Christmas, lads. Hope you have a good one. See you next year.
Jay hasn't got a heart, he's got a swinging brick.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's because if he'd have rewatched it, he'd know it's because River told them he wasn't dead.
Yeah.
They were just making him feel bad. Who was the first chap who sent an audio?
Joe O'Halloran.
Joe, thanks. That's his first one, I think, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that, Joe.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Back on Facebook, just going to rattle these last few off. Connor McHale. Along with The Christmas Carol, one of the worst Christmas specials. The characters were very annoying to me, but at least I was able to enjoy Lily Arwell much more in the Churchill Years box set. 2 out of 10. Kevin Mullen. Quite simply the worst episode of Who ever. Not even Matt Smith can save this. I can't even be bothered to give it a proper review. 0. Yes, 0 out of 10.
0, big fat 0.
Jonathan Byrne says the worst Christmas special. Absolutely bloody awful. Rivals fear her and love and monsters are the worst of New Who. Oh dear. Finn Morris Young says the story is okay. The acting is not bad and I love the references to Caves of Androzani. Plus, it's a Christmas episode, so it's bound to be a bit bad. 6 out of 10.
We just naturally have low expectations for Christmas ones, don't we? Yeah.
Jason Thayer says, I love it. It's a good tribute to C.S. Lewis. And lastly, Danny Brown says, absolutely terrible. No words can describe this abomination to the Doctor Who universe. 1 out of 10.
Abomination.
Yes. So a lot of negative stuff there, as expected.
10 out of 10, though, if that's real.
Yeah.
That's Stephen Moffat under a pseudonym, I think.
Yeah, maybe. Did you have anything on the Geek's Handbag page?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. From Thomas Scott, who says, The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe, in my opinion, is the worst episode in Who history.
Ooh.
The plot line is a joke, the actors are a joke, and the whole episode is one big joke, he says, and he's giving it 0 out of 10.
Oh dear.
So not a fan. Christopher Thompson, who does the brilliant Second Doctor adventures, he did leave a long comment, but it was more of a joke about me watching it. So thanks for your banter there, Chris. We did have a few. Did back and forth for the band last night. Callum Johnson, he says the first 3 minutes were good. That's about it. Matt Smith is great as always, but the kids are so annoying and terrible, and they almost beat the cast of Class in terms of acting. Steady, Callum. Waste of a brilliant comedian such as Bill Bailey. 3 out of 10 he gives it, and he says, have a great Christmas. Thank you very much indeed. Matt Whelan says, I want to forget this episode exists. The only thing I liked about it was the last scene where the Doctor is reunited with Amy and Rory. Yeah, agree with that. Patrick Sherwood says, hi, so this story, what to make of it? I think it's the best Doctor Who story ever, and I really do recommend it to everybody. No, not really. He says, I think this story is an abomination. Another one. It's not great, really, so I'm going to get this really terrible story a score of 4.5 out of 10. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, he says. Peter Adamson just simply says, oh dear, 5 out of 10. Merry Christmas. Thanks, Peter. And finally, I saved this one to last because it's quite a long comment from Charlie Turner. He says, why does this episode exist?
Oh.
No, seriously, this was part of the Doctor Who Revive series. Sarcastic smirk in brackets and laugh. Where do I even begin with this piece of trash? Oh dear. The Christmas specials have all gone downhill, and this is the absolute worst Christmas special so far. Only thing I liked are the Doctor in the spaceship in the beginning, Matt Smith's performance, and the final scene with the ponds, which is completely thrown out the window in the next episode, Asylum of the Daleks. Is it? I have to give that one a rewatch. Mm-hmm. Anyway, this episode, no scratch that, this atrocity stinks worse than a Slovene does while farting, he says. I give this thing in the trash can a -11 out of 10.
Whoa.
If it's possible to have negative numbers as ratings. Ho, ho, ho. Both have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So thank you very much, Charlie. I think we got the impression you didn't really like it.
Oh dear.
And that's got a -11 out of 10. That's probably the lowest, isn't it?
I think that's the lowest we've ever had.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, I think so. Yeah. Did you read the message that you got from somewhere else?
I did it first. I didn't
the
forget.
first one?
That was the Thomas Scott on Instagram. Yeah, because he always messes you on Instagram. Yeah.
Right, thanks a lot, guys, as always. And I think we are going to do there for episode 122.
Ho, ho, ho.
Thank you. As always, for sticking with us and listening, and for sending in your reviews and comments as well on the Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe. I can't say that I'm surprised by the by the reviews and scores and so on.
No, not at all.
We knew that it was going to be ropey ground, but at least we've done it and got it out the way.
Yeah.
So, well, based on your guys' thoughts and so on, we've potentially got the worst one out the way.
Hopefully.
Maybe. Until next year.
Well, until a couple of days' time, possibly.
Well, yeah, I mean...
It can't be as bad as this, can it?
Well, let's hope not.
No, I'm going to be positive.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I felt the same way before they showed us the... what was the one with Nick Frost as Santa? What was that one called?
Oh, Last Christmas.
Last Christmas, yeah. I was very positive for that one as well. So
the most depressing Christmas special so far. Yeah. No, this one's got to be better.
It's got to be. Has to be.
Has to be.
We won't settle for anything less.
No.
Who knows?
Stephen Moffat does.
Well, the mothball, yeah. Bloody hell. We're coming to the end of the mothballs run, so let's hope that he starts just throwing, all of his timey-wiminess and all this, stuff that we're not fans of out the window and just gives us some solid Who. Maybe. So, yeah, thank you as always, guys. When we come back So we're not here next week, although you will hear from us briefly. The week after that, we'll be reviewing The Return of Dr. Mysterio.
Yes.
So look out for the Facebook and so on that. Head over to the website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.com. You can listen to all the previous stuff, plus you can link off to social stuff, and you can also link off to subscribe in iTunes, etc. Also check out Adam's channel, the Geek's Handbag.
That's the one, the Big Blue Geeks Handbag.
Do a search for him on YouTube and Facebook. Loads and loads of good stuff there from Adam. And I think your last one was an on-the-spot review of Star Wars Rogue One.
It will be. You've gone timey-wimey. It will be up tonight, which will be 3 days ago by the time this goes out. Yeah, on the spot of Star Wars. Yeah.
So, until next week, and have a very, very Merry Christmas. My name's Gary.
Merry Christmas, everybody. My name's Adam.
And remember... We run out of music. Have a good Christmas.
I thought we had. Yay.